Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We are opening a very sacred space today. The creator beings are already with us. I'm certainly hoping all of you can feel them. If not, you're in for a treat today. Alicia Power has been working with the creator beings for multiple decades, and she is on a tireless mission to help us accelerate our awakening. And the creator beings are here to do it. Alicia, happy New Year. Happy February. Happy 222.
Yes, my goodness. Can you believe this? It was only like New Year's Day and now it's middle of February, the 11th of February. Oh my God, we are already halfway through 2022. No, who cares? They're just numbers in one way. Oh my gosh, this lifetime, so precious. This lifetime is so precious. So, hi everybody. So today we are going to jump into the topic of creator beings. And just very quickly, at about the age of 18, I started to meditate and jumped in with an extraordinary avatar Indian spiritual guru who I followed in deep spiritual practice, 6 years in an ashram celibate up until about the age of 30, 31. And then I just decided obviously the spirit world was knocking on my door and they were saying, you really do have to open that access way to have a dialogue, two-way clear communication with your spirit mentors and spirit tutors beyond the veil. And I had a deep longing, and this is kind of relevant for everybody. I had a very, very deep longing to, I've got kookaburras singing in the background here in Australia. I don't know if you can hear me. I had a really deep longing to know the story of my soul, my past lives, and the intrinsic power of my soul. And I needed to bust through the veil, talk to my spirit mentors. And that began, and I picked up a book, learned how to very quickly dialogue and commune and communicate with my spirit guides. And for 2 years, they were teaching me energy healing. This was 30 years ago. And after those first 2 years, I had actually a master spiritual trainer who was a master healer in the spirit worlds. And he was teaching me, and I would be full body channeling him with my clients. And and they were showing me around the human aura and also showing me what they were doing in the human aura. And so 30 years later, this is what I've been doing for most of my life. But after those first 2 years, the spirit world keeps upgrading you to the next level of mentor, by the way, because they do a whole lot of things to you as they're mentoring you, especially if you're very committed and dedicated. And one of them is they change your wiring. And this is not that connected to your logical mind at all. So we live our busy lives, but if you are in that one-on-one mentoring program with a spirit tutor, they're very busy. They're in there at night while you're sleeping a lot of the time. Excuse me, just going to clear my throat. At night, they are diving into your past life history, your soul wounds, because you turned around to them and said to them, right, I'm on a program. I really want to awaken this. Today, the topic is awakening, accelerated awakening, right, by the way. And so they're very busy at night. And during the day, they kind of trigger little dominoes in your mind. They crack open quietly deep in your subterranean depths of your unconscious realizations as you're traveling through the quantum force field and the holographic continuum of your day, your reality day. Excuse me. And so that the realizations just keep dropping deeper and deeper and deeper. And so this is not a logical situation. It's a subliminal situation. You're awakening subliminally. And that's what they're doing. They're walking you into, excuse me, they're walking you into a remembering. And that, you can't pull yourself up by your own shoelaces. The reason I say that is that your spirit mentors see the entirety of your crystalline soul field matrix, and they see every little memory humming in those little light waves of your soul history. They see all of you. We can't see all of us. I can't. And so we need these mentors to agree to take us on, you know, as a project, and and to walk with us and push us gently forward and kind of take us to the edge of a cliff and push us over that cliff and see if we fly and see if we remember we've got wings, and just keep nudging. They keep nudging us into quiet, powerful moments of just noticing who we are, you see. And so these incredible master technicians who can see all the wiring in our soul field so compassionately crack open the remembering with us, not for us, but with us, with our permission. And then there's another level. And that other level is when overseer beings of all universes decide to drop a line down into physicality and to touch your soul field and go, okay, so now would you like that whole process accelerated? And these are creator beings. These are overseers of universes who normally their light never goes anywhere near this physical plane or anywhere near souls that have incarnated. But because this is the Kali Yuga, because this is crunch time of where darkness really, really is working super hard to get dominance inside of us through our soul wounds, guys, as light workers, to distract us, to numb us down, to make us forget who we are, even on a day-by-day basis. Right. So shadow is on a mission. It's a software, it's programmed, it's on a mission to shut us down and slow us down and divert us away from our mission,
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
So how would we know when we're being influenced by shadow?
Oh, huge question. I want to say quickly that one of the major powers that starts arriving in your consciousness with the light from these overseer beings, these creator beings, is the ability to recognize shadow. Weirdly, I know. I do remember this happening way back, those 30 years ago, when they connected with me and these creator beings began to just, you know, massage my auric field and began to change me in an accelerated way. Today, I'm talking about these creator beings and how their light accelerates your awakening, right? And one of those incredible changes that starts to happen is that the more of a particular type of light that starts flooding into your auric field, it's a higher intelligence type of light. It's a faster light. It's a very resolute light. It has a capability and a capacity that is much higher than shadow. It's not on an equal footing with shadow in that duality pushing around. It's what it oversees, both shadow and light. These guys are the designers of that dynamic of shadow and light. Excuse me. Oop. And when that type of light, when that type of authority light connects with the light of your soul field, something different starts happening. That level of authority starts to become part of your fabric. So the level, that authority level of that light starts to become part of you, and that changes your perception. And you start, and this was something that I have to just share with everybody that started to happen with me, which serious miracle. And now I'm kind of like passing it on to you guys and saying this could happen with you as well. And that is that you start, it's huge, that you start dislocating yourself away from shadow. Before that, we were in that game of shadow and light, duality. And I'm not talking us understanding that logically. I'm talking that enmeshed aurically. Okay, really enmeshed. that we honestly, and I remember those times way back then when I realized this, that I was getting pulled out of a soup to be above it so that I could even recognize the dynamic of that enmeshment with shadow, so that I could even recognize shadow in myself, so that I could even see it coming a mile away in someone else, even just subtlety in the etheric arriving, connecting with me. So the ability to notice it. Can you imagine how what I'm trying to describe here is a level of cleanliness or a level of height of light that has nothing to do with shadow? And so I have a little puppy in the background, and there is kookaburras around everybody. He might start barking. I hope he doesn't. Anyway, so this incredible dynamic of getting pulled away from shadow. If there's nothing else that everybody remembers from this talk, I'd love you guys to remember this, right? And that is that you start no longer being part of shadow, and you start getting saved. Isn't there, you know, Our Father who art in heaven, that incredible prayer, where there's this plea for being saved, a savior, you know. And from my point of view, this level of the worlds of spirit reached down and repatterned my auric field so that I could see shadow. It was a great question of yours, Lorraine, by the way, because really, really it just hits home to what begins to happen. And the empowerment and the strength, the clarity. These creator beings talk about clarity all the time. I'm driving along, and I know in the US, I think you have the signage on the roads where sometimes it says keep clear, right? This used to be my big thing, which I didn't understand what they were trying to say to me, keep clear. And over time, I began to realize that the word clarity, keep clear, they were describing a change in your soul field, a change in the light quotient, a change in your aura, so that you could see the difference between shadow and light, so that you can navigate around it, so that you can manage it more competently and in a much more empowered way with a lot of skills. There's a learning curve and there's skills, and these mentors teach you these skills, not, again, I'm going to keep reading this, not from your logic, but in unconscious competency, so that sometimes they will push you back up against a moment of shadow to, you know, in that classic therapy style where you revisit an old disempowerment and then regain the empowerment of that moment. But more than that, your wiring's changed when you start allowing yourself to sit under the waterfall of the light of these creator beings and let it just pour into you and take them on, and they take you on. You know, you take them on as a mentor and they take you on as a project, because that light is different. It's very different. It's above light and shadow. It has the authority over light and shadow. It's a big story, actually, and I'm kind of quietly saying this, and I don't know. Anyway, it's very, very important. It's such an important point. Lorraine, good on you. You've just completely gone to one of the most important points of the whole discussion.
Yes, you know, as we accelerate, we are more sensitive to those energies. And that's why just knowing, I mean, it makes us realize that the impression, for example, the impression that we have of a past life with another person, like you could meet a stranger and feel something. And if you sit with that, you can feel the truth in that relationship. And so I guess that's what I'm trying to say is we're getting better at this as we go along. Our memory of who we are, the clarity, as you mentioned, is there with this light. And so for us to be able to see it coming and not get caught up into it allows us to hold a vibration. And I've witnessed this personally myself, really within just the past week, holding a vibration where the other people who could draw me into that vibration, because I didn't react or respond, they actually shifted their vibration. And that's what we
Yes.
did in Lemuria. Well, we did that way before Lemuria, but that's why, as Lemurians, we said, yeah, we'll take on the laggards. Our love can do it. So that's an old story, but we're coming back into this remembrance, really. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what I'm trying to describe is a really subtle thing, everyone, meaning that, and Lorraine, and we all understand this, we've all been on a long spiritual journey. You know, we're long in the tooth, but a lot of us, you know, 40 years, 30 years, 20 years, 10 years, however long you've been on this, on your spiritually awakening journey. And I just quietly want to say it's I've got partnerships. The creator beings are not my only spirit partnerships in the worlds of spirit. I deal with hundreds of different spirit partners in various different roles, different levels of the worlds of spirit for different reasons at different moments for different needs. But the creator beings, their capability, it's like a punch, it's like a force of just shift of change. And they do download into your personal auric light waves remembrance and the veil awakening to who you are. And how that shows up is you're sitting, as you're saying, Lorraine, so much more in that stillness, in that sense of who you are beyond this physical dimension. So you're sitting in your own capability, in your own self-love and self-realization of yourself as soul. And I quickly want to say that that is unconscious competence. It's not necessarily even something that you're doing deliberately and consciously. It's more and more they just pull you back and pull you back and pull you back. It's slightly controversial to be talking about spirit mentors doing the wiring for you. But in this case, this is how they work. Again, for 30 years, I've watched spirit technicians rewire human auras for 30 years, every day, right? My auras, other people's auras, and how instantaneously we change, how instantaneously our consciousness changes, our lens changes instantly when they rewire us. So it's not a small thing when I talk about them rewiring you. Radical change happens to your perception. Radical change happens to your capacity to love, to self-love and to love others and for compassion. Radical change to your sense of, radical change happens to your sense of your mission, but not only that, you know, your spiritual mission, your soul mission, but not only that, your decision to step forward in safety, because you now have partners that provide safety. If this was a discussion about shadow and we started to talk about the higher echelons of shadow and the capability of shadow, it's a really, really tough subject. And I just want to say that these spirit guides, I'm a little bit unusual. They've spent 30 years teaching me about shadow and showing me what shadow really is. But the only reason I could do that, or the only reason I can talk about the detail of what shadow is because I'm in safety and I am held, right, by incredible levels of authority of light. You guys really hearing that? Incredible authority levels of light that oversee shadow, right? They don't get pushed around by shadow. If shadow shows up in a really big way, which I deal with nearly daily in terms of the work that I do on really high universal scales with them, in partnership with them, and shadow does show up in really, really high echelons of light. The feeling that I get when these creator beings and and they show up in however they show up, in different in their echelons above shadow, and then just transmute it, like at such high levels of authority of shadow, they just transmute it. And the feeling I get is, wow, thank God these guys are connected to me.
Do we
I
have
am
to
grateful.
ask for that shadow? Do we have to ask for them to help us transmute the shadow?
Yes.
Yes, always. Number one rule,
Partnership.
partnership.
Partnership means yes. They rely, it's a quantum situation, they rely on our perception, right? So if we're perceiving a need, which includes shadow in the mix, so it's our perception and they need it. We're the periscope in our experience. Yeah. So that's one of the reasons they connected with me in the very first place, to start creating a partnership. And they taught me even how to partner with them, and taught me that they needed me in that quantum situation. And I'm handing that hot potato over to you guys, everyone.
Yes. So,
Yeah. So you two, we're going to be meeting a creator being today. We're going to be going up and we're going to be standing in front of one of them. And I do want to say that is a moment, of connection. And you can use this replay to find that being again and begin a partnership, whether it's them taking you on as a project for awakening, of accelerated awakening, fast awakening. Okay, this lifetime's really short. Or if you want to support shadow. They're telling me to say it's best not to do it. It's best not to do huge, vast ranges of shadow without spending at least a year with them, just working with them and showing up a lot and getting them to change you and rewire you and strengthen you. Okay. I'm just saying that.
there's a really good question coming in from Destiny. Can we work with past life issues?
Absolutely. So these creative beings, and in the worlds of spirit, there are lineages. And so these overseer beings have lineages further down in the echelons of spirit that move into more technician levels, but they're in that lineage of the creator beings. So again, it's accelerated, and the creator beings' light comes through them as well. So with past lives, you can invite the creator beings to do a shift with you, but they will engage armies of technicians to actually, just to let you know that what will be happening. They will engage armies of technicians to move into that patch, so to speak, in your soul field, in your matrix. Read it like a book. Read who owns any soul wounds there, meaning that what levels of shadow are owning and holding that patch in place, or even created the shock in that moment, because there's ownership there in shadow. And then they renegotiate that. And quite often they will track up to the higher layers of shadow, the the going up to the hierarchy of the ownership of that moment in your soul, in your past lives. So just want to say, and again, that is such a great question. And it really also points to something they really wanted to talk about today, which was past lives and soul wounds, because this level of light changes a lot of that debris in our soul history very, very quickly. And they're now very used to dealing with humans, because they hadn't actually connected with humans that much before. So they've now really used to jumping into human auric fields, all the teams that are connected in that lineage to the creator beings. And quite quickly, guys, and this is really important for all of you to hear, quite quickly, when they use the word change, rewire, transmute, do all of the work that's needed there, reinstate whole new layers of software in there in terms of memory software, so that you sit much more in that sort of weak spot, you know, of a soul wound, so that you sit much more in solid, self-empowered there, and the memory has changed into an empowered memory. They do a lot of that very, very, very quickly, super accelerated. It took me like, anyway, I noticed the acceleration as soon as I started to work with these guys in my energy work with clients, the speed with which they started to make changes. So I'm just letting you know, everyone, that soul wounds, old past lives, this is one of their very first focuses with you when you jump in to a one-on-one decision to go fast in your awakening. They will start traveling into your past lives, and usually there's about 7 really big ones, 5 or 7 really, really big ones, like big ones where you flick the switch on something and, like, you know, whole civilizations collapsed or something, you know, something really huge things. Like there's about 5 of them, like really big
mistakes,
5 or 7
right?
of them.
Yeah, we made mistakes. Oops.
Mistakes. Oops. And so they really want to go for those first, because they're the ones that are leaking sort of, when I say shadow, I mean fear into your present time. But everyone understand, and this is an advanced discussion, I do want to say, understand that fear is not just a generic fear. Fear is connected to vast communities of shadow, of darkness, that are controlling that fear in you, you see. So it's you're on a fishing line, and someone is trying to, you know, drive you, steer you away from your remembering, steer you into disempowerment, you know, put the brakes on your visions. Yeah. And so these, and that's why these 5 to 7 really, really big wounds are a huge focus for the spirit, for these creator beings when they start working with you. You know, right at the beginning, when you start working with them, it's slowly, they do it gently, they do it impeccably, carefully and impeccably, not to destabilize your conscious self or your reality holographic movie screen, right? And they just do it, but they're telling me to say they're incredibly experienced now, because they've been working with human consciousness now for about 30 years. So they know how to pull a motherboard out of the computer, whole big sort of parts of you transmuted, and put a really big new motherboard in. They know how to do it. And you stay stable on the surface, because we all know that in therapy, if you're starting to move into some really deep unconscious stuff, wow, the clouds, the dust comes up, you know, and you have to handle it like for months sometimes, like just kind of like, just handle it. So all of that is looked at very, very carefully. Your circumstances are looked at, and they start metering out and assessing how they're going to do a major surgery in your soul in a way that doesn't disrupt your life. So just letting you know. But at the same time, you guys hearing it, how they're just doing it really precisely. They know what they're doing. They've got the authority to shut down any influence from shadow that's coming in from past incarnations. And all of it's done in a very accelerated way, in a very competent way, in a very authoritative way. I talk a little, I'm a little unusual because I lean on my spirit technician teams a lot on a daily basis. I lean on them, I use them, I partner with them, I chat with them, I get feedback from them, I ask them questions, because I'm walking in a holographic field, and I'm walking in a soup of electromagnetics, of energy, in the spirit world. The spirit world can see me. I can't see the spirit world. I mean, I can if I close my eyes and focused in and start using my spirit technicians to even help me see who's there. But I'm just saying that we are quite incompetent with working with the energetic influences in our life. And that's why I lean on my spirit tutors and my mentors, just like easily and quickly and a lot, in order for me to stay in really high light and super empowered. Oh my God, so much to say, so much to say. But that
Yes, so
soul,
much
that
to say.
past life thing, that soul wound thing is just so important, everyone. Just strengthen. The point is to become your higher self, as you guys know, we all know, to become your higher self, humming in high light and radiating that light out into these denser fields and
Yes.
supporting as many other light workers as possible to awaken.
Feel that. That feels great. And I know so many resonate with that. And so let's meet a creator being. And as we do this, I know that it could be customized for each individual who's watching or listening,
Of course.
so that we could just sit and be in it and see what comes up for us, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
It's whenever we go into any of these group sessions with these teams, there are thousands of these high light beings arrive and look at you, each one of you, so uniquely. They look at the patterns of your aura. They look at your thought patterns, and whether you're worrying, whether you're anxious, whether you're annoyed at yourself, or life circumstances, whether you're feeling sort of hopeless. I was talking to these creative beings just very quickly before the session, and they really, one big thing they wanted to do to support everybody here today or on the replay is to give you hope. It's tough on planet Earth at the moment. It's tough. Our lives can be very tough at the moment for various reasons, so many reasons. It can be depressing just looking at humanity at the moment. 2 years of very, very tough, managing the pandemic and financial situations and personal relationships and trying to just maintain stability and equanimity through it all. But not only that, even though that is just so tough, also you have incarnated for a reason at this time. Each one of you as a soul, you have incarnated for an incredibly powerful reason, and that is to awaken to your full remembrance as a soul and speak up about it and communicate it.
Share it. That's the hard part, speaking up about it, because many of us remember getting into trouble for speaking up about it.
Exactly. And be fearless about it. You guys hearing that? The fear meter. It's like, where is on the speedometer, right? Where's the fear meter inside of us of showing up, of who we are as a light being? We are a light being. We're not a human being. We're a human being temporarily, but the permanent part of us is this light being. So to show up as that light being, as that fully empowered, conscious, capable, and radiant light being, and to show up as that and to speak up about that. Yeah, that is the journey and that's the mission. So where are we at with that? From here to there, wherever it is. And my spirit guides, these creative beings today, one of their big things they wanted to accomplish maybe is to offer hope, actually, to you who's watching this, that there is acceleration to that point. How I am today and what I say I am and what I say I do, maybe 30 years or 40 years ago, I wasn't the same person, but stepping into those shoes is a wiring job. So these beings just wired me and got rid of the fear. They wired it out of me. They changed it in my wiring, so that there's a sense of, you're sitting comfortably in your shoes and you don't really care what anybody thinks. It's none of their business. You know, the light's more powerful than they are, and their thoughts and their doubts on you, or even your own thoughts and doubts on you. The light itself is more powerful. And what this whole thing's about, what our whole life is about, is that light arriving into the force fields of Mother Earth and awakening everyone, changing the base of the light matrix of every human on the planet, and also Mother Earth herself. So that light is what your mission's about, is what my mission's about. And it's more important than anything.
Yeah, we agree. Yeah, we agree. Okay.
Okay, let's go, guys. Closing the eyes,
Beautiful.
let's take a deep breath. Everyone, thank you for being here. My creator beings just want to say a big warm welcome and feel hugged. Okay, so we've been chatting a little while. Their energy's already seeped into your auric field. So we're going to move quite quickly. So I would like you to imagine in front of you a big ball of light, big sphere of light, and imagine and pretend, feel free to pretend, to just step into that ball of light, and then a new different little switch become that ball of light. Feel yourself expanding and merging with that ball of light, becoming it. And as we're just quietly hanging out there as that ball of light, I'd like you to imagine that there is a being of light standing in front of you. This is an escort being, a travel buddy. So I'd like you to reach your hand out and take their hand, holding hands together. And as you're holding hands, a huge column of light forms around you both. And together, like Peter Pan and Wendy, you're starting to lift up the column of light. Starting to fly upwards. Up the column of light. We're going to travel for quite a while to get to the creator being layers. So just imagine it is a bit like an elevator, and it's kind of this wind is sucking you up. This column of light, it's like a sacred wind of light is pulling you upwards. Keep going up, everyone. We're going to travel for a little while. Keep traveling, traveling, traveling. Higher and higher and higher and higher. And let's go faster and faster. And now let's move into hypersonic speed. I think that's the word, just like zooming. We're on a Zoom call, zooming, super fast. Keep your attention, swing your attention onto that we're doing this. Stick to it like glue, that we're keeping our attention on this. Keep going, traveling up higher and higher. Squeeze the hand of your travel buddy. Keep going upwards. All right, slowing down now. And this being, this travel buddy, incredible beings, light being, turns around towards you and just bends over, and you put your foreheads together, connect your foreheads together. Beautiful moment of acknowledgement and love. And then, like in an elevator, there's a kind of side door, slides open, and you step out and you are in a big sort of ocean of light. Just standing there, hand in hand with your travel buddy. The energy itself in this layer of light is very subtle. So I just want you just standing there. Nothing to do, just for a moment. So interesting. And suddenly we are noticing that we are in the middle of a very big circle of light beings around us. It's very subtle, and just pretend. Keep your pretend mode on. And an incredible light being starts walking towards you. So we are in a big circle of light beings, but there's one particular light being starts to walk towards you. This is a very powerful creative being. And your escort buddy just steps away to one side. And this is a moment of just feeling this light being in front of you. There's a lot of energy exchange happening between you and them. They're actually reading you right now, understanding the long, long journey your soul has taken. They're reading the history book. Taking a look at you. And this being is actually telling me that they are very, very high, very advanced, very high in authority. Again, nothing to do, just to stay there, to stand there. Allow them to take a nice long look into your aura, into your soul field. And I'm being told and shown actually right in this moment that they are scanning and looking in for those 5 to 7 big, big soul wounds, those moments in your soul history that were substantial, you know, powerful situations and could be causing a current leak of shadow into your deep unconscious. This is what they're actually looking at right now. Seeing where they are, what they are, who's connected to them. And I'm being told to say right now that this assessment is so rare for humans to have this assessment from the worlds of spirit. And usually it's very high levels of authority that are even allowed to make this level of assessment, because these substantial major soul wounds are connected to major layers of shadow. So you need very high authority beings to even go in and check it out. That's why we're just quietly standing here. They're asking me to ask everyone here on the call right now, are you interested? Do you want them to start healing and rewiring those soul wounds? And so what they're looking for from you is clarity, decision of a yes or a no. So in your mind, speak to them from your heart, let them know. And according to your response just now, they are now starting to travel into your soul field with their consciousness. They send their consciousness in and start, just zooming around in there in the corridors of your soul history. And they are actually, and they're telling me to tell you that they're finding and locating wound number one that they're deciding to begin working on, of one of these big ones. So they're coming up to the door, it's like a going, not really, but going down a corridor with lots of doors, and they've decided, okay, this is the door, and they're about to open it. Just letting you know that they really are happy to start. All right, so they're showing me they're opening the door, going in and beginning a real assessment of what happened there. Taking a look, feeling into the entire wound area. All the subtle little light waves and software that's sitting there. Software of memory. I'm just going to go quiet for a tiny moment. Are showing me they're working very fast. And they're telling me to say to all of you that this is not a complete healing of this wound today, but it's the big domino, the big beginning of the rewiring. They're telling me also to say that it takes about 10 weeks per wound for them to very gently and quietly reposition all of the unconscious, to repattern the matrices down there in that wound patch. They do it so kind of gently and quietly and slowly and competently. So it's a very real change at the deepest part of you. They're showing me they're in there looking at the history, looking at who's involved in that moment, the type of fear that's sitting there, the amount of fear that's sitting there. So much. What led to that moment? So as they're doing that, they're asking me to say to you that this is the beginning of an agreement, really, with them to make the changes and for you to start strengthening in those areas, in that deep, deep, deep area of the wound. And they're also letting me know to say, while we're there, that there's nothing for you to do, really. You don't even need to connect or reference back to them about this or inquire about it, because they're just going to quietly do it. Sometimes when they're doing really big work on me, they just ask me to distract myself. It's really interesting. There are other times where they really want me to focus, but there are other times where they want me to distract myself. So funny. So they're just saying on that note, for you guys in the next weeks rolling out, it's not about digging it up. It's not about scratching this wound and kind of trying to get in there yourself or ask about it, or even they're just saying, guys, just get on with your life. And you will notice patterns in the way that you sit inside yourself, the way you think, how you are, relationship changes. fearlessness changes. You'll notice that start happening to you, in you, for you. This is a big gift today, and they're still in there because they've got a big job to do. They're still in there, but they're asking everybody to take a deep breath and to open your eyes and to come back.
Thank
OMG.
you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That was really interesting. I felt things in my torso. I felt energy shift already. Wow. So this will continue working. We can continue this. We can ask for a continuation as well. Very,
Yes.
very good. And we don't have to use our mentalness to figure out what those past lives are and who's connected or whatever, but just to feel a wholeness around the light, not to blame or feel shame about, oops.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. So happy continuation of this, everyone. And there's another way that you can continue this. Every month, Alicia has her monthly live streaming where she brings forward the creator beings again. And that's a beautiful way to go deep with these creator beings, 6 months, in fact. So that's good. I'm going to put that link in our Zoom box. And Alicia, you can share more on that. It's pretty cool what you've set up here.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so these creator beings about 3 years ago or 4 years ago asked me to create a monthly live workshop with them for group healing like we've just done. So we've been doing this for about 4 years, and it's just called live stream with the creator beings. And it's an hour and a half of them teaching and then going for about an hour of group healing, of going deep into our soul wounds every single time and traveling up and meeting beings and having soul surgery with them. It really is such a powerful vortex. And what we enter into in these times, in these workshops with them, they do various things, like they change global and universal light shifts with us as the kind of anchor point sometimes. And other times we're working on our soul wounds, and other times we're working on our self-recognition as a soul of light. And they choose the topic and the focus every single time. And because they're on a mission too, they're on a mission of augmentation of this light. And so they use the group who comes to these live streams as their human anchor point for the huge light work that gets done. It's pretty extraordinary. It is actually mind-blowing every single time. Mentioning that, it's very powerful. Hour and a half work with these creator beings. And so what's on offer is a discount for a 6-month pack of these hour and a half workshops once a month.
Beautiful. Yes. Awesome. Thank you so much for that. Go ahead. Yeah.
And I was just going to say, and also I do believe that there's an option there if anybody wants to. Also, one of my deepest passions when I first started to dialogue clearly with my spirit guides is I realized that humanity is seriously limited because they're not talking to their spirit guides.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first, like 30 years ago when I started, and even like a fire ignited in me of wanting to teach as many people as possible to talk clearly with their spirit guides, to break through the veil and have those easy dialoguing moments with their guides. So my spirit guides have asked me to create another little monthly, like they're sort of twice a month, those are spaced out every 2 months, but another little monthly experience for anyone who wants to come into the group. It's just a quick 30 minutes where I take everyone into a powerful spirit vortex and take you into a moment in front of your guide and sort of show you and teach you how to hear them and give you a moment of practice in a powerful light vortex. It's much easier. See, I noticed the way that I got really good at talking to them was when I was doing my healings in those very early years, because it was a slightly different dimension, like the force fields of light that would come into the room and surround me and the client on the table. Once we were in them, we were up in a higher dimension. It was easier for me to hear my guides, and I started to just, as a ex-journo, I was just interviewing them all the time and asking them about everything. And that's what got me really good at hearing them back. And so we provide this 30-minute powerful vortex of light, and it's much easier to be in that deep state and hear your guides. So it's a practice once a month, and it's called Dialogue with Your Guide. And there's a 6-month discounted pack there for you guys as well. I think that's being offered as well.
Yeah, really great there. We're excited for that one. There's some comments coming in the chat that folks have been doing that and working with those programs, and they're amazing. Great, beautiful. Well, thank you. So again, the link for that is right here on this webpage or the description box for this video, and it's in the chat on our Zoom audience. Wow. Alicia, thank you, thank you, thank you. This is, for us, it's a short episode today, but immense in the light that it brought forward. And we hope that everyone is feeling it. Everyone, please go back and return to this meeting with this creator being and let it work with you. Continue it and let this light flow into your life. Call on these creator beings, work with Alicia and the creator beings. It's a beautiful package. And, I'm looking at the prices there, and that's a very reasonable, highly affordable rate. And as always, there's a 2-payment plan. So we hope that that makes it easy for everyone. Well, Alicia, I am elated. I can feel hope. I hope everyone can feel it as well. It comes from the light that we all chose to radiate when we incarnated, and we said we can do it. So let's not get overbeaten or taken down by shadow side that distracts us from that mission. So as we say goodbye, I see 111, that beautiful number. And I'm just soaking that up, but I want to give you a moment to just close our sacred circle, Alicia.
Oh my gosh. Okay, everyone. Oh my gosh. These creator beings are just sort of pushing in, and they're telling me to say that they have an eternal commitment to our soul, to bringing us back into our full power as a soul in this lifetime. They made me say that, in this lifetime. Eternal commitment. You have behind your back, you have support, you have highly capable beings with such speed available for you to your awakening and to your strengthening, everyone. So grab their hand. They're just telling me to say that in the mornings when you wake up and you're just quietly lying there, reach out to them and ask them just to bring their energy to you, and just have beautiful moments of the energies just connecting. Nice little exercise process just to leave that with you, just because it's the energy of you connecting with them that starts the process. They'll start going into your auric field right there and start playing and reconnecting and rewiring in that moment. Thank you, everybody. I just love you so much. Thanks for being with us today. Thank you so much. Hope is here. Hope is here. You're not alone.
No, you're not alone. And it doesn't matter where you are on your journey. These creator beings meet us exactly where we are. You don't have to think about not being up to speed enough, because they meet us wherever we are. And they are eternally ours. Wow. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Alicia Power. We love
Thanks,
you.
Lorraine. We
Thank
love
you.
you too. I love you too. I love you guys too.
Yes. All right, everyone. Again, you can check out the link for the offering from Alicia right here on this webpage in the description box for the video or in this chat box. Thanks again, everyone. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you for listening to this quantum conversation, and thank you for dancing with us to the cosmic heart. As we raise our own vibration, we raise the vibration of the planet. This show is dedicated to you and all awakening hearts, as we are here to shine our bright light and amplify our love. Access all quantum conversations, special offers from our guests, and online healing retreats by visiting acoustichealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and from my sacred heart to yours, I honor your magnificent love and light. We leave you now with music from the universe. Music literally created by the universe, as musical notes were assigned to mathematical equations. The result is this beautiful music, available at acoustichealth.com. Namaste.